tries to go for the argument that he's going to exclude the NC because I'm not showing all humans, but he has to concede the argument that he has to give you something that actually meets his burden. He tries to go for his preclusion. He has not done that in the last speech, which is the reason why it is not legitimate offensive preclusion. Additionally, I make arguments in Habermas is very explicit why animals do not possess this and humans do. He has not done specific analysis against NC as to why this would exclude. Don't vote for him on a blip that is not developed. Now, go to his extension of the first arbitrariness argument. Too bad he has conceded the second argument that he perceives both the non-arbitrariness matter. In his last speech, he says that he makes an appeal to justice. Exactly. He's making an appeal to a just framework of justice that is not actually justified in the framework, which means that he says non-arbitrariness matters because non-arbitrariness matters. He is using circular logic to justify his framework. This is the reason to reject it because it is not sufficient for us to have non-arbitrariness just because non-arbitrariness is good. Even if non-arbitrariness is good, that presupposes that he's winning his framework in the first place. He has yet to justify why non-arbitrariness was good. He's not extending the last speech. He's also not answering the do not matter arguments or do only matters within the framework that he is trying to justify. The way the AC is framed, it says that these are 4 reasons why non-arbitrariness matters. And then he goes on to say why non-arbitrariness is good. But we would only care if non-arbitrariness is good or that non-arbitrariness is key to application of rules if it matters already, which is the reason why his logic is circular. But he has also conceded the argument I make on Rawls, the 4th justification, that about bias. So go there now. Extend the argument that bias is not always arbitrary because there are certain differences we can isolate, i.e. the NC or physiological difference. This is the reason why bias is not a reason to negate his arguments about why bias is not a reason to affirm his arguments about why bias is arbitrary. Now we just check that back is insufficient because he is not justified why biases are actually arbitrary. My argument is that sometimes differences are not biases, but rather concrete facts that are true about the world. Now, that severs the link to his framework. I won't go for Murray and Ross, so that's not offense for him. Sure, animals can engage in the ritual position. The problem is Drew is mishandling the terms. First, let's deal with the Kalarka argument. The Kalarka argument relies on him winning non-arbitrariness. He said this in the prep time last speech. Additionally, there's no reason why oppression would matter unless we are looking to some sort of non-arbitrary application of rules actually being sufficient. But he has also not done a good enough job on the first argument that controls the internal linkage to Kalarka that the veil of ignorance itself would require acknowledging any sort of distinguishing features of speech, meaning that the veil of ignorance commits the type of oppressive policies that he's trying to stop because he says we have to look to any distinguishing features. We have to search for distinguishing features in order for the veil of ignorance to matter, which is the reason why I control the internal link on that level. He has conceded it does not matter. He says there is no warrant as to why there would be a difference between animals. My argument is not that there is a difference between animals, but in order for the veil of ignorance to operate, we'd have to search for differences, which is the oppressive policies of Clark White when he talks about confident in their he has conceded the 2 point which indicates the veil of ignorance is not mandating similar treatment for animals, which is the reason why there's difference. It says that the individual should not be biased in their decision making, but if they can be biased in favor of animals, then they can be biased in favor of humans. The veil of ignorance would not be compared. This also is the reason why it takes out his framework. He has conceded in the last page. Too bad for Drew. He has not answered the 2 and 3. He's only done 1. He's also conceded the 3 point that the veil of ignorance negates. In order to give animals rights, we would need to know the specifics. Says we need to have prior knowledge of them. That it says we cannot know the well-being of all animals because it is not sufficient. There is a warrant, and that is the distinction. Since animals have different well-beings, and there's not some sort of special quality that is across all, that is the reason why they're different. So even if you're buying this contextualization of the after and last speech, you negate. The way the round boils down is I'm doing better comparative analysis on the Habermas NC. That is the first layer of debate. That is what morality is as per this round. I've also won turns under his own framework.
53 seconds. So what comes first? It goes NC, turns, and then like...
Okay, it's not like comes first, it's in the sense that in LD we have frameworks, right? I won the framework debate.
No,
okay.
Okay.
So the NC is how I win.
I got you. How do perms work now?
Yeah. How do perms work? Can I prove the alternative now? Why isn't he here?
You can get in line and I'll be a chair.
Sorry.
Okay, it's going to be all NC.
NC?
Yep.
Wow. Risky.
Okay. Everyone ready to go? It'll be extension of defense, the turn, and then just like winning. No one made great arguments as to why the NC comes first, so we're going to have a debate on that so we have substantive clash. Extend the first, second, and third defensive arguments. These are always going to be very important when we're evaluating strength of link under its own framework. Extend the first argument, that there's difference between language and not all humans are going to be interacting on this. We are not always talking in the sense that I can say yada yada yada. No, in the sense we can still be interacting. There's no reason that's why language is the superior barrier. His own work is going through this, where he's extending his work and says linguistics is based upon reciprocity because we interact society. There's no reason that's why this interact society is based upon linguistic interaction. Just look at your extension. None of it is this. It's all saying interaction and saying linguistic. linguistic society without warranting that next link. Second, extend the turn coming out of this where I explained that animal benefit society through their work on the fields being made delicious steaks. By using animals for their own benefit, they are giving back society, whether it be through their work or their sacrifice for food. This is more reciprocal than humans who are given rights but are lazy and don't help others. Moreover, whenever we domesticate animals, we create vulnerability in them. By taking away their freedom, we reciprocate by giving them rights. This can be linking in very directly to Habermas 1 and 2. When you look at your extension, you explain that there's this vulnerability, this integrity in humans that's completely different. I'm explaining very clearly that animals have the same vulnerability. When you domesticate an animal, we say that you are now under my reign, and I'm going to do whatever I want, you puppy. I'm going to put tutus on you and stuff like that. In the sense that we limit their interaction, the same way that we interact with them. There's no reason that's why this has to be based on language. So the only question now is whether or not this turn works more. We're linking to interaction. That's the top of the NC. The question is whether or not language matters or just based interaction. So then let's go to the next defensive argument I place on this, that we can interact without language. This is what dropped. His only argument is that there's no effect without expression, but great, I can make the expression, and you can see the affection through that. When I hug Noah, he can know that without me talking to him. There's no reason that's why me expressing words mean the same thing. In the same way, I can love a woman from France and have no clue what she's talking about because she's a beautiful woman. In the same way, it does not matter if I understand what they're saying because the same interaction can't occur. That defense went dropped. If you're thinking it's a joke, you can link it to Habermas 1 and 2 extension. This is take out the internal link is why linguistic points matter. Furthermore, Habermas 2 is still contingent on linguistic factors. I know you're going to want to read Habermas 1 and 2. Habermas 2 is not doing the work. We question what links to interaction first and foremost. So now let's do the when. You're going to be buying my turn first and foremost because, one, the warranty for language is very weak. Whereas I'm linking in the turn. In cross-examination, he said you can turn the NC, and all I'm doing is trying to do that. It would have been better to just respond to the turn instead of just trying to de-link it without any clear warrant. So if we're voting off strike the blink, he's dropping this turn. It's going to be very easy to vote right there. Second, this says that there's clear interaction coming out of that. So the fact that Habermas 1 is just justifying interaction, I'm linking to that very clearly. Based on 1, domestic interaction, and 2, the reciprocal benefit that we gain through killing animals. So let's go if there's any sense of defense that you might be worried about. On the difference point, he says that's symmetrical with linguistic without reciprocity. Again, these points are all based upon linguistic barriers that we have with humans. Then he says that it's not social when we interact with animals because it's not talking. Again, it's based upon talking as being the base for it. And then lastly, he says there's no affection when there's like expression. So let's go through the link story here real quick. Every single extension he has is based upon linguistic barriers being important. When he read his extension is this bolded line that explains why individuals have to interact. I'm giving you clear links as to why we interact with animals. The fact that we domesticate them, which has a clear strength of link to the standard because we create a vulnerability in them. And second, the fact that they give back society when we kill them, they feed steaks. Moreover, all the defense I put are defense to the link between integrity or the framework and language. So prefer mine off strength of link. Good round, D. Good round, Noah. You go.